So Resident Evil 4's remake is coming, and it looks amazing, but with Resident Evil 2 arguably pushing the faith in this game, it's got me thinking, what's with all the remakes lately? Capcom in recent years has been giving the Resident Evil series a lot of love, and they've been remaking the entire library and have been giving really good sequels with Biohazard and Village. With the release of Resident Evil 4, which is arguably the best game in the series before the soft reboot with Biohazard, the interesting thing with this remake and most of the Resident Evil remakes seems to be it's more in line with what a remake is supposed to be. Let me explain. Take the GTA trilogy back in 2021. The developers Grove Street Games had a crazy giant task of remastering all 3 of the 3D era Grand Theft Auto games simultaneously. Grove Street Games went into development with the goal of having the games look the same as you remember it, but with a bit of polish. They added dynamic colors that shift throughout the day, and corrected the placement and movement of the sun, the moon, the stars, and the clouds. They changed some weather effects, such as falling of the rain and accumulation of puddles and their reflections. They also used AI to upscale textures before manually adjusting them. So they put a lot of thought into upgrading everything with the way you remember it, but giving it a good cleanup. They did a lot of work on these games, but at that point, why not just remake one of the titles from scratch? It's like taking a car from the early 2000s with 200,000 miles on it, and taking it to a car wash and getting it detailed. Except the car being nearly 20-year-old games with outdated systems. It may look nice, but the engine still has a lot of mileage and you can feel it. And it's no wonder that when the trilogy came out, it was so buggy and got review bombed so hard that Rockstar had to send out an apology. Not a great way to celebrate the games that put you on the map. And that's the problem with remasters in general. There's a difference between a remaster and a remake, and it's massive, but it depends on the studio and the resources that gets put into the game that sets them apart. At this point, certain devs usually do little work and then use the label of a remaster as a means of just porting the game. The Last of Us, the PS4 port, is not as exciting. But The Last of Us Remastered, now that's a name worth slapping a $59.99 price tag on. But now we're in an era of remakes and they're happening more often. And with them comes 2 benefits to developers. 1, they get to revisit games limited by the technology of the time and get to fully realize the vision of the game that they had earlier. 2, they get to introduce new fans into the player base and have them invested in for future potential sequels. These 2 points reflect in a lot of popular remakes. The Dead Space remake is getting a lot of acclaim. Was this a cheap money grab? I don't think so. With every single bit of the game getting a next-gen reimagining, from Isaac's suit to the lighting. Hell, they even moved around the jump scares to keep returning players on their toes. Another example is Final Fantasy VII, and this by far is the most changes. While most of the remakes in the video are similar to the originals, Final Fantasy VII literally changes genres. It goes from turn-based all the way to hack and slash real-time combat, from text boxes to motion capture performances and so much more. The fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake is only 1/3 of the part of the whole story and it still feels like a complete game is an amazing achievement unto itself. So with all this in mind, the Resident Evil remakes are benefiting from these 2 points. Resident Evil 2 Remake just dominated the gaming conversation in 2019 and it deserved it. Resident Evil 4 looks like to be doing the same, with some of the team from RE2 on board for this one. And it shows with reports that they'll be taking out QuickTime events and adding side quests, with 3 teams designated to the 3 game sections, the village, the castle, and the island. With all these improvements and love for the original game very much at the forefront of this project, it looks like Resident Evil 4 is shaping up to capture the same success as RE2.
Looks like this is it.
Ugh, it stinks.
Sure does.
No way, Leon.
Way.
Thanks for watching. Do you think that developers should slow down with remasters and put their weight behind remakes more often, or do both have their respective place? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe and click here to see another video.